We will now call the Plan Commission meeting of December 10th, 2024 to order. Roll call, please.
And I.
Boucher.
Shinsky here.
Gavich here.
Kuzikowski here.
Chandler here.
We will move on to approval of minutes of November 12th, 2024. Give you folks a little bit of time to look them over. If there's any questions or discussions, please just take the floor. Oh, Fred. You're satisfied, there's no discussions, questions, errors, or omissions. Motion, please.
Kuzikowski makes a motion that the minutes from November 12th, 2024 are approved.
Chandler seconds.
Roll call, beginning with Christine.
And I.
Boucher, aye.
Shinsky, aye.
Here. That could be a problem. Hang on, let me look at the minutes. No, so do we, yeah, we got 5. We'd be okay for the vote. Yeah, that's what I thought. Bukevich abstains.
Kuzikowski here, approves.
Chandler, I.
Motion carries. We're going to move on to 4A, and that is consideration of conditional use permit for an outdoor storage at Oak Creek Wood Products, an existing business located at 190 West Marquette Avenue, submitted by Pete Erickson of Oak Creek Wood Products. Christie? Oh, Todd, sorry. A through G. Thanks for the heads up. That's what makes my day. Cool.
Excuse me. I don't think your mic is on.
Now it's on? Yeah. All right. Well, there you go. Okay. Well, so the property, which is zoned M1, manufacturing, located on Marquette Avenue and South First Street. They're seeking a conditional use permit for outdoor storage of manufacturing materials and items required for operations. As you can see on the site plan, which I have up, they are seeking to have outdoor storage, which would include about a 2,900 square foot area at the north of the property for storage of lumber, and then also a storage area closer to the building that would be storing 2 53-foot long trailers for they'd be fully enclosed, and they'd be for storage of sawdust. These storage areas would be enclosed in with a fence around the perimeter, a chain link fence, although the areas that you see in green here would have slats in them. It would be a combination of 6 feet tall and 6 feet tall along the road for privacy there. You can see the sawdust storage area will be kept 15 feet away from the building. As far as traffic to and from the site for this outdoor storage, it will include daily delivery, maybe once or twice a day, delivery of lumber to the lumber storage area, and then once every 2 to 3 weeks, they'll be coming to tow off these trailers with sawdust, empty them, and return them to the site. You can see a photo over here on the right is how they're currently using this space. Again, looking to adding the screening of the fencing. So if the applicants are here, if you have any questions, otherwise it's suggested motion.
Wonderful. Thank you, Todd. Applicant, would you like to come up, say, add anything, or do you want to wait on questions if you're present? Okay, applicant says he'll just kind of wait on the questions, so we'll start out, Christine.
Just curious for one question. It seemed this business has been in this location for a while. What triggered that request for the permit?
You'll have to come up to the podium, sir. We'll need your name and address.
Pete Erickson. And what else?
You can use the business address.
Oh, Oak Creek Wood on Marquette Avenue. I guess we started the request a while ago. It's kind of been working its way through. Quite a while ago. I know we started when Carrie Papelbon was here, and it kind of
Okay,
got bogged down on her desk.
okay. Because I was just curious why now it seemed like it has
Yeah.
been an established business.
We've been
for
trying
a
to get it. Yeah, we've been anxiously trying to get it through. So.
while. Okay, thank you.
Steve?
What kind of slats are going to be in the fence? Like an aluminum?
They are they're like standard plastic sliding that weaves through the fencing.
Plastic.
Yeah.
Ashley?
No questions, thank you.
Chris?
No questions.
Don? Oh, let the record reflect Commissioner O'Donnell is now in attendance.
And due to my tardiness, I'll be abstaining from A. So
Oh, you don't have to
no
abstain.
questions. Well, I don't have any questions.
Okay, you're gonna vote. Commissioner Chandler?
No questions, thank you.
Okay. No, I go by the business on a fairly regular basis. The product's always coming in, going out, obviously. They're building pallets. I think it's long overdue if enforcement triggered it. I definitely think it'll be an improvement. My only question is, with the fence, do we allow the slats? Because we let chain link go,
We
right?
let chain link, and yeah, I mean, there's nothing in our regulations against having slats in there
Okay.
for
It just-
commercial.
I know we had long discussions over this, if there are maintenance issues and what have you. Just surprised a wood guy wouldn't build them out of wood. That's okay. Other than that, no, it's a great business. It's a great asset to the city. We just needed to look a little bit orderly because it is kind of one of the gateways into North Branch, if you're not familiar with it, right down there. Want to keep it looking good. Other than that, if there's no further discussion, I'll call for a motion on 4A.
Guzekowski makes a motion that the Plan Commission approves the common council that approve the conditional use permit for outdoor storage of manufacturing materials and items required for operations on the property at 190 West Marquette Avenue after a public hearing and subject to conditions and restrictions.
Anna seconds.
Roll call beginning with Steve.
Algi.
Pchinsky, aye.
Gavich, aye.
Guzekowski, aye.
Chandler, aye.
Hannah, I.
Okay. 4B, we're at the same location. We're going to review conditions and restrictions as part of a request for the conditional use permit for the outdoor storage we just approved at the Oak Creek Wood Products at an existing location at 190 West Marquette. And once again, submitted by Pete Erickson, Oak Creek Wood Products. Todd?
Yeah, as you mentioned, this is the same property, and so staff had drafted conditions and restrictions for that previous agenda item. You had received the full conditions and restrictions in your packet for your viewing and review. Just want to touch on a couple of highlights here up on the screen for the use. One being the outdoor storage will only be in designated areas that were shown on the site plan. The outdoor storage will be limited to those two trailers, as well as the roughly 2,900 square foot area for lumber. And that no other materials should be stored outside anywhere. And that the boundaries of those designated areas, as approved in the site plan, will be painted on the pavement to show where they will be stored and kept within those boundaries. No outdoor storage within 15 feet of any building. No material shall be stacked higher than the height of the the fence that they're constructing. And of course, the hours of operation will be between 8 a.m. and 2:30 a.m. So again, if you are happy with those conditions and restrictions, I have a suggested motion here.
Okay, thank you, Todd. Pete, anything before we redo the questions? Okay, we'll start up. Steve, you want to start us off?
The thing I got is the locations of those painters is that, you know, it's gonna be painted on where they are gonna be going, just so that's kind of kept up, so the paint doesn't get worn out and stuff starts moving about the
Oh, yeah.
site.
We're actually, we're repaving, we're putting fresh concrete down. So that's part, once they get the concrete down, they'll maintain the.
Be freshly painted.
Yeah.
That's all I have.
Ashley?
No questions.
Chris?
No questions?
Don?
No questions.
Chauncey?
I do have a couple questions. So nothing can be higher than the fence. So how tall is the fence? Or will it be, I should say?
Well, the fence is a combination of 6 feet and 8 feet. The 8 feet being along the north property line. I believe it's 6 feet along the street on First,
Correct.
is what it seemed like. So back to
Yeah, it's got two heights. The fence has a staggered height.
So with that said, the next question, and I may need your assistance with interpreting this, because my interpretation is that the trailers will be stored back there. So the trailers are no higher than 6 feet?
The trailers themselves are, the material that would be stored is, I think, what he's referring to as far as what's not gonna be higher than the fence.
Oh, okay. But the trailers won't be stored back there?
There's two trailers that are kept stored right on there, yes. We transport, so we have trailers. Usually they're in our docks. We have docks in the front of the building, indoor docks, and that's usually where we keep it. For the scrap and sawdust removal, those are kept outside.
So I guess I have a question. Does that meet the requirements for that height? That's 6 foot, 8 foot? Does that cover the trailers as well?
Well, I mean, so it would be just the material they're talking about, or
Okay.
we're restricting the height on material being stacked.
Okay,
It doesn't apply to the trailers.
okay, because to my understanding, they're stored there maybe a day, and then they leave,
The trailers are.
receive or drop off material?
No, the trailers are stored there, and then they're used to fill up,
Okay,
and then once they're full, they're removed.
Then
They're
they-
taken away and
okay,
dumped. Almost kind of think of it as I guess if you want, a mobile dumpster.
okay. And with that said, one of the conditions is the parking and access.
Mhm.
It's saying for item parking and access number 4, item C, no semi-truck traffic shall be permitted in the parking lot. But to my understanding, isn't that part of the business? The semi-trucks need to be on the lot?
Well, the parking I think we're referring to is the parking stalls on the side, on the east side of the building. There'll be a
okay.
gate there there'll be no semi-traffic going through that parking area.
And the parking on the side, is that for cars?
Yes,
Oh, okay.
yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, that's it.
Mhm.
Let me just kind of start with fire. Fire's not here tonight, but I did read the report. Turning radiuses, everything seems good with them. Of course, you're subject to fire inspection once a year. Of course, wood products we want to be careful with. They're pretty combustible. This actually kind of goes back to the last one, which is proved. I mean, stop it, but kind of overlooked at the dumpster. The dumpster's going to sit on that northeast corner. Typically, we ask for screening around that. Where's the dumpster sitting now?
It's on that corner right now.
It is on that corner. Okay.
But it will be within the perimeter of the fence.
It'll be within the perimeter of the new
Oh.
fence.
So you won't be
Yeah,
able to see
it's
it with the
inside.
fence. It's all behind the fence.
Okay, good, because to tell you the truth, I missed it on
Oh,
or
yeah.
I would have questioned it.
Oh, yeah, that's kind of why we extended the fencing to cover, so the dumpster whole area would be enclosed.
Appreciate that, appreciate that.
Yeah, you can see it on the
Um,
site plan here.
No, other than that, that was about it. It was just fire perspective on it. So, I don't have anything. So, if there's no further questions or comments, we'll look for a motion on B, please. All right.
There it is.
Bukevich will make a motion.
No, it wasn't on our, it wasn't on our screen.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
there
yeah.
it is.
Go
Sorry.
ahead.
Oldani moves that the Plan Commission recommends that the Common Council adopts the conditions and restrictions as part of the conditional use permit for outdoor storage on the property at 190 West Marquette Avenue.
Guzekowski, I'll second.
Roll call beginning
Kipchinsky, aye.
with Bukevich, aye.
Guzekowski, aye.
Oldani, aye.
Chandler, aye.
Hannah, aye.
Ouch, aye.
Okay. Cool. Moving on, we're cruising. C, gonna review plans for lighting modifications to the property at 9503 South 13th, submitted by James Rawling, Bridgman Foods 2 LLC. Todd?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So yeah, the property which is on the corner of West Ryan Road and South 13th Street, currently zoned B4. The applicant is proposing to install 6 new light poles and replace 2 of the existing light fixtures on the site. This is pictures of the current lighting as it stands now. There's only light poles in the area that is parking for semi-tractors, trailers. As you can see, this is the site plan for the new lighting. They will be putting up 5 poles around the perimeter, circled in red here. Those will all have 1 light fixture on them. The 6th new pole will be here kind of in the center of the property. Will have 2 light fixtures on it. In addition, the light poles that I showed you on the previous slide, those poles are here in the west, facing over the semi-truck trailer parking area. They're going to be replacing the light fixtures there to be consistent with all the other new lights on site. The new poles are going to be 27 feet in height, and they are going to be full cutoff, downward lit lights, and they meet all city code requirements for lights. So we have a suggested motion, if the applicant is here, potentially questions.
Appreciate it. Applicant, anything, or you want to wait on questions, sir? Okay. Let's start right on off. Ashley.
No questions. Thank you.
Chris?
A nice, nice looking refresh. Looks good.
Don?
No questions.
Chauncey?
No questions, thank you.
Christine?
Okay, I have a question and maybe to yourself and Ashley. The lights on, if you can bring back the map of the lighting plan. The lights on facing Rhine Road, are they going to be matching the lighting, the rest of Rhine Road?
I would imagine not.
Ryan Road's a state highway, so I would
So I-
seriously doubt it because it's private property and they can choose as they see fit as long as
I mean, you can, here's like a light here on Ryan Road. It's kind of a, like a highway standard light, so.
I just wanted to make sure that at the intersection of Ryan and 13 is just not going to make any conflict with the different lights and the state highway. So that's just my only concern there. But if that meets code and from the engineering perspective it looks good, then I have no concerns. Thank you.
Which way did
questions?
I go? Start with Ashley.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I think I'm going to my, well, let's go. Steve, you're up.
Yeah, no questions.
Christine?
I already asked my question.
All right, Chris?
Nothing. No questions.
Don?
No question.
Chauncey?
No questions, thank you.
Okay. I got just a couple questions for the applicant. So you got 1, 2, and you'll have to come up here, sir. I'll need your name and address. 1, 2, 3. Currently, it looks like you got 3. Name and
Brian Fodor,
address
Director of Operations.
and the address of the business.
Oh, it's,
We need it for the minutes.
okay. It is 9503 South 13th Street.
Okay,
Bryan
excellent.
Road and-
So it looks like you got 3 existing lights, and you're adding 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You're adding 6, which is really cool.
Mhm.
Safety's priority. Are you gonna take the power underground, or is everything gonna be bored and underground? You're not running any overhead?
No,
There'll be no overhead wires going between it, because you got a lot of existing parking lot, because you're just on the perimeter if you're picking off that circuit.
correct.
All right. Good, as I think it was Chris, good improvement. We're going from the old Oak Creek to the new Oak Creek. So it'll look nice. Obviously, you're keeping the existing poles. They look like wood. You're probably going to poured bases and the whole deal.
Yeah, they should be uniform with what we're
Okay.
going to upgrade to.
Oh, you're gonna change out the existing wood poles. Oh, even better. Wow, holy smokes. Good job.
Thank you.
Okay, I got nothing else, so if, somebody'd like to make a motion, great.
Guzekowski makes the motion that the plan commission approves the plans for Wendy's Restaurant at the, for the property at 9503 South 13th Street, submitted by James Rawlings, Bridgman Foods Incorporated, with the following conditions. 1, that all relevant code requirements remain in effect, and 2, that all required permits and approvals are obtained prior to installation.
Oldani seconds.
Roll call, beginning with myself, aye.
Guzekowski, aye.
Oldani, aye.
Chandler, aye.
Hannah, I.
Boucher, aye.
Krasinski, aye.
And item D is for a temporary use permit, and we will review a request for a temporary use permit for the Colders parking lot on the surface lot for the Wisconsin State-approved motorcycle training site. This property is located at 9725 South 13th Street, and this permit was submitted by Mark McLean of the House of Harley Davidson, or for the House of Harley Davidson. So, Todd?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, as you mentioned, this is to be on the site of the Colder store. It's currently zoned B4 general business with floodway. And the applicant is proposing for a temporary use of for a motorcycle operating training site. And they've been applying for this permit every year since 2018. And there's never been any complaints from it. But so the use will be confined to the south end of the parking lot here in Colders. The courses will be, or the use will run from March 25th to November 3rd of 2025. They operate between the hours of 7 and 8 p.m. to take advantage of daylight. 7 days a week, but mostly Wednesday, Thursday, Saturdays, and Sundays. Just like previous years, they'll have a 40-foot long cargo container set on site for the time to be storing their equipment as they're there. They'll be having 2 32-square-foot signs on that storage container. Like I said, this has been since 2018 with no complaints. The applicant is here if you have any questions. Otherwise, we prepared a suggested motion.
Great. Thank you, Todd. Applicant, you want to wait on any questions if that may develop, or would you like to say a few words? Welcome. Yep, nice to see you again.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Planning Commission, Mark McLean, House of Harley Davidson, 6221 West Layton Avenue, Greenfield, Wisconsin, 53220. So I would just like to thank the commission for taking this into consideration. We've had a long-standing relationship. I believe you've heard me say it before. We are the single largest training site in the state of Wisconsin. We typically average between 600 to 700 students a year. The average location is at best maybe 250 students. So we have a lot of support from Wisconsin DOT and the state that runs the program, and I truly appreciate all of your support. I would like to also go on record welcoming Todd in his new position, and I have a long-standing relationship with Christy at Greenfield, so I'd like to commend the city of Oak Creek for bringing her on board. So that's what I have to say.
Excellent. Okay, questions? Chris, any?
Nothing for me.
Don?
No questions.
Chauncey?
No questions, thank you.
No question.
Steve?
No questions.
Ashley?
No questions.
No questions, just a comment. It's really great that you do this every year as a motorcycle rider. I appreciate it, and it's really a great class.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. If you ever want to go permanent, Oak Creek should be your home. And we can also be party central for the House of Harley and the overflow from Greenfield. We'd love
Noted,
to have you.
noted and on record.
We need
Thank
some
you.
entertainment down here. So.
Thank you.
Anyways, with that, motion on D if there's no further discussion.
Oldani moves that the Plan Commission approves the temporary use permit request for the operation of a motorcycle operator training site on the property of 9725 South 13th Street, submitted by Mark McLean, One Headlight Power Sports LLC, doing business as House of Harley Davidson, with the following conditions: that all relevant code requirements remain in effect, that all course activities shall be located within the south portion of the parking lot as per the proposed map, that operations related to the training course be limited between 7 a.m. and 8 p.m. Monday through Sunday. 4, that there shall be one cargo container for temporary storage of the course equipment and materials. The cargo container shall be removed within 7 days of the last training course. 5, that signage of the operation is limited to 2 4x8 32 square foot temporary signs on the cargo container. And 6, that the temporary use permit shall be valid between March 25th, 2025 and November 3rd, 2025. That's it.
Guzekowski will second.
Okay, where am I? Roll call beginning with Chris.
Guzekowski, aye.
Oldani, aye.
Chandler, aye.
And I.
Vouch aye.
Pipchinsky, aye.
David, aye. All right, good luck. Thank you very much. Item 4E, review a request for a conditional use permit for equipment sales and auto body, automotive, mechanical repair, and outdoor storage at Transport Refrigeration, Inc., a future business to be located at 6925 South 6th Street. Will be in Suite 400, submitted by Michael Miro, Transport Refrigeration, Inc. Todd?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, as this property is located on 6th Street, north of Rawson Avenue, and currently zoned M1 manufacturing, the applicant, Transport Refrigeration, is seeking conditional use permit for equipment sales, auto body, automotive, mechanical repair, and outdoor storage. You can see this is the current outside of the building front of it. The building is currently 5 different suites. The applicant and future occupant there is going to be renting 4 of the 5 suites, and also 1.5 acre paved area in the back for parking and some storage. And for their service of sales, installation, and service of refrigeration units on trucks and semi-trailers. For those 4 spaces, they'll be combining those spaces, creating approximately 20,000 square feet for service area, accessed by the 4 dock doors in the rear. They'll have about 3,200 square feet for parts, 120 square feet of office space, and a little area for customers to wait, as they'll have about maybe 2 to 3 walk-in customers per day into the site, and they leave about a maximum of 10 trucks either in or out leaving the site. This is what currently what the back of the building looks like, and the parking area. These aren't their trucks. This is the current, had been the tenant there. As you can see, they have their parking plan here, and striped out 30. You can see the longer spaces here at 30 spaces, which they'll be required to stripe, and for storing of the trucks and trailers that they'll be servicing and doing installation on, mixed with parking for employees and visitors. And they'll also have 31 spots in front. So they're exceeding the requirements for the required parking there, with the parking that they're creating both in the rear and in the front. And leaves the applicant here for any questions that you may have. And otherwise, I've prepared the suggested motion. It's just 1 page.
Great, thank you, Todd. Would you like to just wait on questions, sir? Okay, start with Don.
No questions.
Okay, Chauncey,
I do have a question for the applicant.
come on up, sir. Just name and address, please, on the microphone.
Mike Muro, Transport Refrigeration, and the business is 6925 South 6th Street, if I got that right.
Okay, one of my questions is in regards to the equipment. So you're selling equipment as well as repairing equipment? So
Yeah.
what is that equipment?
Yes, so we're a Thermo King dealership, and we have other locations in Wisconsin, Madison, Green Bay, Mosinee, Wausau area, Toma, and we have a shop in Arkansas too. So we sell and service the refrigeration equipment that is bolted to trailers for moving food. Trailers, straight trucks, small vans.
And so that equipment will also be stored outside because you're looking for outdoor storage too? Is that what goes out there, or just the trailers stored outside?
Just the trailers.
Okay. And then another question in regards to refrigeration materials. So what's the process to get rid of those things that may be hazardous to the environment? How do you dispose of those?
We have to follow all the EPA guidelines, so our techs have to be certified to handle it, and EPA equipment to reclaim and recover. We usually do not destroy refrigerant. The only time that ever happens is in a case, it's most of the time a customer, something happens and they wreck the refrigerant. And at that point, there's a process for it. It goes into a recyclable container, and then we have to pay to destroy it.
Okay, so that's not regular service. It would be service that you would call in?
Yeah.
To pick it up on an as-needed basis?
Yeah. I mean, it could be if somebody bringing a piece of equipment. It doesn't happen that often, somebody bringing in a piece of equipment, but we usually know it. That's all guidelines by the federal government that we have to follow.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Yes, I have a question regarding the parking for the trailers. Can you bring, yes. The northern part, it seems a little bit tight for all those trailers to be stacked next to each other like that. Is that gonna be even easy to maneuver for the trucks to park like that? There's enough space for them to back up, or
Yes.
seems a lot, and
No, basically the trailers, in our other lots, we can get them within like 3 inches from each other. We have, that's normal for the operations or trucking operations.
Todd, you mentioned this is exceeding the amount of parking. Yeah, it seems that it's a lot of parking spots.
Yeah, and well, the parking calculation goes into the parking spaces for cars, not for the trucks that they'll be storing. That's part of their outdoor storage is the trucks and the trailers. On here, the smaller, the car-sized spots that they have for the entire site, if it slightly exceeds what would be required for parking spaces for like all 5 suites.
What's the difference between, what is the bus parking? What is the bus parking for?
That's not our spot. There's a bus company in that section, and while working with Todd, he wanted that laid out for the whole location.
Okay.
So we were working back and forth with Todd and the owner of the building to get that information too. So Suite 100 is not us.
That's Safeway buses.
Yeah.
So that's their parking for their buses.
I just have the trailer parking with the 18 spaces, right? The top left corner, or,
29 spaces for trailer.
okay. Thank you.
Steve?
Question, is that back parking lot still on gravel, or has that been paved? Is it a paved lot or on gravel? The back lot?
I asked the owner of that one.
You'll have to come up and be on the mic. Sir, well, I'll need you up on the mic for the You'll have to come up, name and address, and do the microphone thing for the minutes.
Hi, John Lamsa, the landlord at 6925 South 6th Street. The parking lot's about 60% gravel, 40% paved. The back part of it's, or the north side of it is more gravel, and the south side towards the building has been paved.
Are you planning on, I mean, are you gonna stripe this to keep people parking where they're supposed to, or are you gonna be
We're gonna
striping
stripe where we
the gravel?
can, yeah, where we can.
Okay.
And I shouldn't say it's gravel either, it's what they call reclaimed asphalt.
That was done, memory serves me, in the last 5 years, correct? Black Diamond back there?
I'm
Was
sorry,
Black Diamond back there? It was done
Black
like
Di-
about 5 years ago with that
Yeah,
we had some stormwater issues back there, didn't we? Or,
that might have been, the building was built in '09, I purchased it in 2015 from Black Diamond.
yeah,
It was, Deb Tigley was the owner.
yeah,
But there may have been, but I'm not aware. We never had issues.
okay. You remember that, Ash?
That was pre-me. I do
That
not
was
remember
pre-you.
that.
I'm that
sorry.
old, eh?
Can't
Okay.
help you out there.
All right. Anyways, obviously, the last business did go in after Black Diamond, but I do remember we had to have them clean up some stuff back. Can't remember the specifics of it, but obviously, I have to take it. It's okay. And that was going to be one of my questions if there were stormwater issues. Ashley, anything that's come across the radar?
No, I'm not aware of any issues at this location.
Okay.
Did the city require that to be a hard surface? Back?
Technically, my thought would be yes, but I don't know why it wasn't in the first place. Like I said, we'd have to go back through some past history of engineering and what have you. I can't remember the exact reason it was reclaimed. It just really rings a bell. They went with reclaimed asphalt.
We'll look into the minutes, Steve. It's a good question.
Yeah. But I would think, based on our code, can't see where it wouldn't be required. Just keep in mind, you know, we're gonna move on, you know, if it passes tonight, could require compliance, set some timeline for it, you know, like not tomorrow, you know. But, no, good question, Steve, very good. I can't remember the specifics of it, but it really rings a bell with that reclaimed asphalt back there. Something with the wetlands and the whole deal. Might have helped the wetlands meet because they weren't using it for parking. I can't remember. I'm having a bad night, to tell you the truth. Anyways, okay. Who had the floor? Steve? Or Chauncey? You had the floor, right?
Nope.
No?
I'm done.
Christine had the floor? Man, I am just failing miserably here right now. Steve, anything?
Nothing further.
questions? Okay. Mine really concern the stormwater, but I think we should look at that. And again, I want to be totally transparent to you guys. Unfortunately, when you take a property like this or something, sometimes this is our opportunity to get it into compliance because it's something we missed along the way or what happened. I mean, you remember the guy on 32 that put all the significant work into the building? Landlord wouldn't, unfortunately. But I wouldn't like to keep it open that, you know, we'd have discussions in the future if it's required to be paved somewhere along the line. And again, I know that's a major expense to a property owner. And of course, we don't want to saddle the renter as well, but we would like to get the property to meet code by all specs if we could. So maybe in a conditions or restrictions that we'll have to kind of wordsmith that, which I don't like doing, but I really feel everything's cool except that.
It's a good use of the property.
Yeah, without a doubt, and I'm glad to see the business coming. That's really good news. There's going to be no shortage of that going on. So, anybody else have any questions? Okay. Cool. Christy, how can we word this in a sense that, you know, upon review of the north end of the parking lot being non-paved, that it would be subject to review? The conditional use is gonna go. You know what I'm trying to say? That
Yep, absolutely.
that we don't strap them on a timeline, but we just don't let it slide for another 10 years.
Right. I guess in these situations, you know, in my career, the Plan Commission in this type of similar situation would say, you know, like maybe within a 2-year time frame, or put a time frame that is reasonable, that we can compromise, that gives them enough time to, you know, build up the money to pay for something like that. 2, 3, 4 years that the remaining unpaved surface of the parking lot be paved. I think it's as simple as that.
Yeah, I don't know what the square footage is, so I don't want to begin to just say, here, you have to do it, and all of a sudden we turn around and it's $100,000 to the property owner. It's an exaggeration, just a number I'm putting out there.
Yep.
But I want to be fair in all cases, and first of all, we should go into the history of this property and find out why it was allowed in the first place, because I may just be...
Or quite honestly, you know, it could be a situation where you inherited a property where the previous owner didn't do what they were supposed to do. That happens as well.
Yep.
So we could,
I mean, if we say something like, you know, north end of the property will be paved at subject to review, by our planning and engineering department of requirement of paving, and if required to be paved, a timeline will be set.
Yeah,
Can we do that internally without coming back to plan?
yeah,
If
I,
they're
I think
non-compliant.
so.
Doesn't it already say that with the subject to conditions and restrictions?
Well,
Yeah, if you want to make the motion on the conditional use permit, we can go into a little more details on that, conditions and restrictions, the next item.
yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
Let's go through this one. I don't want to hold them up by any
Right.
means, but I don't want to make assumptions either, burden them or sell the city short.
Yeah, and I would say worst case scenario, which is not a bad scenario, is if for some reason the site plan from 2009, you said it was about, whatever.
2009, then 2015 is when
Okay, so 15 years ago, for whatever reason, it did not require the paving, we could bring a site plan before the plan commission in the future. It's not gonna hold up the conditional use and their occupancy. We can bring a site plan in the future.
I know they were grandfathered on the.
It could, that also could be because this was 15 years ago.
Yeah,
And a lot of standards have changed in the Metro Milwaukee area with MMSD over the last 15 years.
okay,
And the city standards as well.
okay, let's move through E and then consider that in the conditions.
Okay.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Looking for a motion?
Yeah, let's do a motion.
That the plan, Oldani moves that the plan commission recommends that the common council approves conditional use permit for equipment sales, auto body, automotive mechanical repair, and outdoor storage on the property of 6925 South Sixth Street, submitted by Mike Miro, Transport Refrigeration, Inc., after a public hearing and subject to conditions and restrictions.
Guzekowski, second.
Roll call, Don, you start?
Oldani, aye.
Chandler.
Johnson?
My apologies.
No, go ahead.
Chandler, aye.
Hannah, I.
Ouch, aye.
Shinsky, aye.
Gavich, aye.
Guzekowski, aye.
Okay, now on to 4F, and that is the conditions and restrictions. As requested by the conditional use permit for the equipment sales, auto body, automotive mechanic repair for Transport Refrigeration, Inc. This is a future business at 6925 South Sixth Street, Suite 400. Todd,
Yeah, I mean, so I'll just jump to the conditions and restrictions. You had the full conditions and restrictions in your packet, but again, just like the previous, just picking out some of the specifics to this property. Meaning that the outdoor storage would be only in the designated areas on the site plan. The parking spaces for outdoor storage of semi-trailers and straight trucks shall be striped for a maximum of 30 spaces. Parking, storing of all semi-trailers and straight trucks shall be in the striped parking spaces. Parking, storage of semi-trailers or straight trucks outside of the striped parking spaces will be prohibited. Outdoor storage shall be limited to the 30 semi-trailers or straight trucks, and no other materials or items shall be stored outside. That the traffic volume of trucks to and from the site for those suites they'll be occupying, 200 through 500, may not exceed 10 per day. Hours of operation, 7 a.m. To midnight. And so, yeah, I mean, I have conditions in here that they'd be striping all the spots. So, but it's to add others as we need to for conditions.
start all over again. Chris, let's start with you. Any questions?
No questions.
Don?
No questions other than the discussion that we all know is gonna happen here about the pavement.
Okay. Chauncey?
No additional question.
Steve?
No questions, thanks.
Steve?
Questions?
No questions.
Okay, so, we kind of got ahead of this, I guess, and correct me if I'm wrong, but if we did something that we'd add a condition that determination of the pavement of the north part of the parking lot is subject to compliance as determined by staff, if found non-compliant, timeline to be determined between owner and staff. And then we'll just review it. I think we can go from there, and I have all faith in my staff that we can work through this, get to the bottom line, why it never got paved in the first place. Sir, I see you're nodding in agreement with me, but if you have any comments or anything that we can take to our staff now, I'd appreciate it now. You'll have to be up on the mic, sir.
Obviously, we have leases involved here that are a certain price, so
Yeah.
the longer the better, but we'll make it work.
Yeah, first let's determine the history of the property
Sure.
with our staff and the reason that it never got done before it was yours or
Okay.
whatever happened back in the day to find out if it's legal non-conforming or things like that. And believe me, there's a lot more smarter people that know this stuff in the city than me.
Okay.
That'll determine that and work with you through it. But I don't want to infringe on your ability to lease
Okay.
the place or them to get their business up and going. So we'll work through it timely together, and we won't put a large financial, I can't make a promise on large financial burden. I don't know what that costs, but we'll keep the timeline. We'll work together on it to make sure we're all good with this.
Okay,
Okay?
thank you.
Got my word. Okay. There's no other questions or comments? Motion.
Oldani moves that the Plan Commission recommends that the Common Council adopts the conditions and restrictions as part of the conditional use permit for equipment sales, auto body, automated mechanical repair, and outdoor storage on the property at 6925 South 6th Street.
Guzekowski, a second.
Do we have to add that condition I threw out there?
Yep.
It will be noted as read. If not, I can try to reread it. Okay. Trust you.
All right,
Okay.
additional restrictions as recorded.
There you go. F. I'm not on my game tonight. What's that? Chris, second it. Commissioner Chandler.
Chandler, aye.
And I.
Bouch, aye.
Shinsky, aye.
Gavich, aye.
Guzekowski, aye.
Oldani, aye.
Okay. Moving right along, item G, it is a sign appeal. Consider a request for Ebenezer Childcare of an existing business, and it's located at 220 West Forest Hill. And this is by Jakaila Hodges of Sign Effects, Inc. So, Todd.
Yes, well, so this business is located on West Forest Hill Avenue and South Anthony Way and West Woodman, bordering those three streets. It's currently zoned a B3 office and professional business. The appellant is requesting a variance to the municipal sign code for an adjustment of the sign height and sign area. The request is then for the one single tenant monument sign that is 8 feet tall with a sign area of 50 square feet. The site plan shows the proposed sign will be on the Forest Hill Avenue frontage here. It does meet setbacks as far as requiring to be 10 feet away from the property line at the street. And see, here's the sign as they are proposing on the right versus the sign they currently have. Code requires that the maximum permitted height of a single tenant monument sign in the B3 is 5 feet, and that the maximum permitted sign area is 25 square feet. As a reminder, as far as the decision to approve a variance would be using these following criteria. Is the applicant or appellant is here to speak?
Wonderful. Come on up, sir. Like all the rest of them, name and address, please.
Josh Brown with Sinifex on behalf of Ebenezer for 220 West Forest Hill. I did just want to bring to light a few of the details we had discovered while going through this process. Primarily, the existing sign that was approved back in 2007 is about 74 square feet. And the current zone for this business is B3, while all the surrounding properties, I think there's a site map, package, shows that they're all B4, M1, or LM1, which all allow 50 square feet signs. So the specific hardship that we're requesting for the 50 square feet is directly to the east, is another childcare facility that has a 50 square foot monument sign. So they're looking to update and bring a better visual representation of Ebenezer. In doing so, they'll come down to the 50 square feet, but going all the way down to the 25 just wouldn't make sense for the business.
Okay, so the existing 74 square. Gotcha. Okay. Is that it, sir? Or you got more?
Yep, that'll be it for
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Hang tight, there's probably gonna be some questions. So, Christine, you want to start?
I have no questions, but I have to note, all my kids went to Ebenezer, and I know the director over there, so
Oh,
she's well aware of me. She
Okay.
saw me quite a bit there.
okay, Steve?
No question, just a nice looking, new modern sign.
Ashley?
Just a quick question. Will the new sign be on that existing base or same location, or how close will that be?
It'll be on the same location, but we'll be providing the new base with a clean stone to match the building.
So similar dimensions, though, for that base?
Yeah. It won't extend past the sign, but it'll actually be smaller.
Thank you.
Chris?
Agree with Steve, it looks good.
Don?
No, I don't have any questions. We're good.
Okay. Kelsey?
No questions, thank you.
I don't either. This is kind of a funny just situation. We have multiple zonings going on. Quite frankly, I'm glad you did your homework because the LM1 allows it. And again, the business has been there for quite a while. Can we go back to the picture very quickly? I just went by there today, and it's a very nice looking sign. I like what's going on with it. With the new one, Ashley pointed out the base and the whole deal. Will this be lit? Is it lit?
It will be internally illuminated with LEDs set to a time clock, and only the Ebenezer lettering and then the logo will illuminate. So no background illumination in the red or back.
Okay. Yeah, this is one of these strange deals. When I first heard it was going double, but it's actually coming down in size. I do think it's a little bit more of attractive, a little more modern look to it. So I'm okay. If we want, and there's no discussion, motion.
Oldani moves that the Plan Commission approves a sign variance allowing the installation of a single-tenant monument sign with a maximum sign area of 50 square feet and a maximum height of 8 feet on the property of 220 West Forest Hill Avenue.
Guzekowski, second.
Roll call, beginning with Christine.
And I.
Bouch, aye.
Chinsky, aye.
David, aye.
Guzekowski, aye.
Oldani, aye.
Chandler, aye.
Okay. Item H, conditional use revocation. Review a request to rescind ordinance number 2224 and the conditional use permit for housing for the elderly in the property at 8825 South Howell Avenue, submitted by Brian Drummel, B&B Investment Properties, LLC. Christie.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is an oddball situation, and for simplicity purposes, I'm going to describe, explain items H, I, and J together. We'll do motions separately, but you can't really do one without the other for telling the story of why we're here today. So a conditional use permit revocation, I don't know if the city of Oak Creek has revoked a conditional use permit before, but it.
Not renewed. We've had them run out
Okay.
on time
Oh,
and not renewed.
okay, sure.
Not renewed, but never this.
So a revocation or rescinding is taking away the approval, the previous approval. And it does require a public hearing process as if it was a brand new application. Why are we doing this? Why are we revoking a conditional use permit? So the story, the background is that this property is zoned RM1 multifamily residential. We're reviewing 3 applications to revoke or rescind the conditional use permit, amend the comprehensive land use plan, and rezone this property. This is the building. This is a very prominent building along Howell Avenue. It's quite frankly an office building, but has a very strange history on how it got here. In 2002, the city held a conditional use permit hearing to rezone the property to RM1 multifamily and provide a conditional use permit with the intention to develop a 62-unit retirement village. And at the time, this parcel that we're reviewing today included the vacant parcel behind it, so it was all one, combined for 2.7 acres. In the meantime, it's been split off to separate the office from the empty land behind it to the west. So as you can imagine, and as you've seen in the aerial photos, this never came to fruition, this retirement village, just the office building was built. But the conditions and restrictions from 2002 tied to that conditional use permit strictly limited the uses. All permitted uses in RM1 multifamily, housing for the elderly not to exceed 27 units per acre, retail, which are part of an accessory to the elderly housing, and then usual and customary accessory uses, again, for elderly housing. So it was really focused on uses and office users. It did admit in this description that the building would be open to the public, but again, it did limit users that were accessory to elderly housing. So why are we here today? It's limited to what this users and tenants that can go in this office building that quite frankly is just an office building. So if a prospective tenant went up to the landlord and said, hey, I want to do computer repair, consulting, we would have to tell them, no, I'm sorry, but it's limited to retail that is accessory to elderly housing. So here we are today. How can the property owner move forward? Well, this is the site plan that was part of the approval from 2002. So you can see it did show the office building in the front along Howell, but then it showed, an addition, an extension of the 62-unit elderly housing that never came to fruition. So this is still vacant in the back today, but this was the site plan that was tied to this particular conditional use permit. So the property is zoned RM1 today. Properties to the north, east, and for the most part south are zoned B4. We do have, Salvation Army to the immediate south. So the application is to rezone only this property with the office building to B4, which is consistent with the property surrounding it and would allow your standard office users and tenants to go in there. But we can't rezone it without amending the comprehensive land use map, because the comprehensive land use map identifies these 2 parcels in purple as public and semi-public. So that would be changed to commercial in the application. Change the comp plan first. You can't rezone without the comp plan changing. So application number 1 is to rescind or revoke the conditional use permit limiting it to those uses that I showed before. Application number 2 is to amend the comprehensive land use map, and application number 3 is to rezone it to B4. So a public hearing is scheduled. We had to jump ahead with a comprehensive land use map amendment. The state law requires a 30-day public comment period between the publication and the hearing. It's not your standard conditional use permit, class 2 notifications, all these little nuances that staff has to be aware of with how many days it has to be published ahead of time. So you had to put that in the newspaper a month in advance. With the deadlines, with the holidays, we had to get that in last week. Public hearing would be scheduled for January 21st. And we'll hold the public hearing in the same order that the agenda is listed before you this evening. First, revoke the conditional use permit, get rid of the restrictions from 2002. Second, comprehensive land use map, change that to commercial, the pink. And then third, rezone that property to B4 to be consistent with the parcels surrounding it to the north, east, and south. So that summarizes a really oddball situation, but in all honesty, it is cohesive with the neighborhood, and it actually gets the property to how it could and should be, and honestly is used, but it just has all those restrictions from 2002 tied to it. So with that being said, that summarizes the project. Again, we would have 3 separate motions for items H, I, and J. The first motion before you is just for H.
Okay. Chelsea, you want to start us out?
I do. I have a question. So, with the public hearing, so that has to happen before we make the changes?
No, the public hearing would be scheduled for January 21st.
I guess I'm not understanding. The public hearing is to inform everyone that these changes are coming? I'm trying to connect the two, because if we're approving everything.
You're recommending approval. Plan Commission's a recommending body on all 3 of these motions. The Common Council would vote on it, could vote on it the night of the public hearing, which would be scheduled for January 21st.
Oh, okay.
Does that make better sense?
Not really.
It's just like a conditional use. It's a rezone. It's a comprehensive. It's your standard public hearings. The Plan Commission's reviewing it about a month prior to the public hearing before the Common Council.
Got it. Thank you.
Sure.
That was it. Thank you.
Okay. Don?
Oh, amazingly, I have no questions.
Okay. Chris?
No questions.
Ashley?
No questions.
Steve?
No questions.
Christine?
Just one question relating to what Chelsea had said. So what if the public opposes that?
Sure. So the public has the right to speak their opinions. The Common Council can listen politely and vote how they want to vote. That's the beauty of being an elected official, I guess. But I mean, you're right. Neighbors could show up in opposition, and then to be debated live during the public hearing, I guess.
I was just curious. No, I have no other questions.
Okay.
When is that again? Sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead.
January 21st would be the public hearing.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So this is a situation where this was set up as basically a PUD, and it was going to all be tied into this elderly living complex as shown by the master plan that never developed on that property. So we're really hamstringing the building, because in the conditional use permit, it only allows tied to that medical field. So if an insurance agent wanted to go in, or you name it, a driving school, any use like that, it couldn't go in. So we're really trying to free that up. Just if we can go back to the comprehensive plan, these are the questions I have. So right now, the Salvation Army is institutional.
It's zoned institutional, which is the blue, yes.
Which is zoned, right?
And then the comprehensive land use plan identifies that as public, semi-public.
Oh,
which is-
so it's already identified.
These are current conditions.
Okay.
Yep. That would
So-
remain.
So the
We're not touching this one. We'll
Right.
just,
that
just-
one, we're adding to it.
we're gonna make this, instead of purple, it'll be pink. It'll be commercial.
Yep, gotcha. So the property directly to its west, the rectangle that was
Yep.
supposed to develop,
Right.
do they have an existing easement with 8825 South Howell to ever develop? Because they're landlocked.
They are landlocked. That's a good question.
And, or does the owner of 8825
Own that
property?
parcel. I feel like they do. We have Robert Coleman here, who is part owner of
Come on up, Robert.
B&B Investment.
And again, I ain't gonna really hold anything up. I'm just trying to get clear. Name and address, sir.
My name is Robert Coleman. I am one of the owners of B&B Investment Properties. My address is 8513 South Country Club Drive, Franklin, Wisconsin 53132.
Excellent. So that property to the west, you guys own that as well?
Yeah, to be quite honest with you, I don't think that we do, because that's a separate parcel, correct?
It is a separate parcel,
Okay.
yes.
I don't believe.
Is it owned by, is that Booth Manor back there? What's the name of the elderly care center? Booth? Booth is directly behind Salvation Army. I should know this. I've been in the place. A couple centurions live in there. Yeah. Anyhow, I'm just kind of worried about this. Not that it's going to make any difference on the zoning. It's just whatever happens with it, and who owns it, or is it owned by the people to the north?
Owner name is North Oak Realty Group, Oak Creek LLC.
I
ring a
believe
bell?
the history that I know of that parcel back there is that what's behind it to the
Oh.
west?
The property to the north is owned by the same LLC.
Okay, so
There
it's
you go.
owned by them. Never mind. They'd
Yep.
have access.
Okay.
I'm being curious as long as this is up here
I
because
was curious as well.
Yep.
it's such a weird deal.
So this parcel immediately to the north is owned, same ownership,
Okay,
same
so
LLC.
if they ever wanted to expand
Yep, it's a really
it
good
beyond
question.
them.
Yep.
Okay. Just being curious. Otherwise, no, I don't have any questions. With that, we can definitely move on H. And then I is the comprehensive plan. If there's no questions there, we can move right ahead, and then J would be the, Chauncey, go right ahead.
I'm still trying to process the public hearing details.
It
And
it
the
all
reason
goes
I
to,
asked,
yeah, go
because
ahead.
I was thinking the public hearing happens here.
Oh, never, never.
We will have some public hearings at the council. What you're seeing here is when the neighbors get notice and come in within 300 feet of a zoning.
It's a courtesy. Plan Commission, for the Plan Commission process, the city of Oak Creek chooses to send a courtesy notification. It is not required per state statute. What is required is the notification per state statute for the public hearing, which is always held by the common council.
And that's any property owner within 300 feet by statute, or if they want to extend it.
Okay, thank you.
But regularly, if a development's going on, per se, it's not a public hearing, but we'll invite them up.
Before we get to that. Okay.
Okay, with that being said, motion on H.
This time. And I move that the Plan Commission recommends to the Common Council signing of ordinance number 2224 and the conditional use permit for housing for the elderly at the property located at 8825 South Howell Avenue, submitted by Brian Drumble, B&B Investment Properties, LLC.
Guzekowski, second.
Roll call beginning with Steve.
Bouchai.
Chinsky, aye.
Gavich, aye.
Guzekowski, aye.
Oldani, aye.
Chandler, aye.
And I.
Now we'll move on I, which is the comprehensive plan amendment.
Can we go right to the motion?
Yeah.
Okay, Oldani moves that the Plan Commission recommends to the Common Council approval of an amendment to the City of Oak Creek 2020 Comprehensive Plan land use category from public, semi-public to commercial for the property located at 8825 South Howell Avenue, submitted by Brian Drummel, B&B Investment Properties LLC.
Guzekowski, second.
Roll call, beginning with Ashley.
Chinsky, aye.
Gavich, aye.
Guzekowski, aye.
Oldani, aye.
Chandler, aye.
And I.
Mulch, aye.
And then J is the rezone. Same property, same thing we talked about. We can take a motion unless there's further discussion. Go to a motion. Anybody?
And I move that the Plan Commission recommends to the Common Council approval of a rezoning of the property located at 8825 South Howell Avenue from RM-1 Multifamily Residential District to B4 General Business District, submitted by Brian Drummel, B&B Investment Properties LLC.
Guzekowski, second.
Roll call. Gavich, aye.
Guzekowski, aye.
Oldani, aye.
Chandler, aye.
And I.
Mulch, aye.
Chinsky, aye.
Okay. Excellent.
Mr. Mayor, thank you very much. Thank you, Plan Commission.
You're welcome.
You're
We'll
welcome.
see you
Thank you.
soon.
Thank you. Yeah, of course.
Then item K is a zoning text amendment. We're gonna review a draft ordinance to amend table 17.0304, sub C, pertaining to various uses, restrictions, to amend section 17.0804, sub E, pertaining to conditional use procedures, and to amend table 17.0603 of the municipal code pertaining to permitted sign types. Christie.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this, I'm going to break it down into 3 different sections for the zoning text amendment. We'll start off with this permitted and conditional uses table. So as you're aware, the City of Oak Creek's municipal code has a pretty big table of uses that are permitted or conditional, or blank means simply just not allowed under those particular zoning districts. So coming to the city with a fresh set of eyes, I kind of started asking, do we want more smoke shops? Do we want more liquor stores? Do we want more auto or used car sales in the city of Oak Creek? And we do have regular monthly staff meetings with some department heads, the mayor, Common Council President Ken Gale, and the city attorney, and we've had discussions for, I want to say, 6 months, not continually, but brought up on occasion about uses that are maybe undesirable to I can't say everyone, but to a community generally. And so I kind of pointed out and drafted this table that listed, I'll call them those undesirable uses. And so here I'll kind of drill down one by one. The first one listed under the category of retail uses, again, this is how our zoning code has this table identified in the code as it is today. Adult entertainment is listed with a P under the M1 district. I'm not going to go into details. There's so much litigation with this topic that it's not something that anyone was interested in removing all completely from the City of Oak Creek's zoning code, but it was alarming to me that it was just simply permitted use. And that means that it literally today says it has a P under the manufacturing. It's a permitted use. An adult entertainment user could find a parcel zoned M1 in the City of Oak Creek and simply open without notification, a public hearing, that sort of thing. So we're proposing to change it from permitted to conditional use. We can restrict hours of operation. We can make sure it meets parking. We can go over conditions and restrictions. Restrictions that just were not even there today. It's not there today because it's a permitted use. So that's the change number one that is shown before you. Number two, beer, wine, liquor stores. Number three, tobacco, electronic cigarette, other smoking supply retailers. And number four, pawnbrokers. Those categories are not called out today at all. They're just under general retail and again, permitted uses in many of the commercial districts. And so the proposal is to literally call them out individually and have it all blank, meaning from here on, a new beer, wine, liquor store, a new tobacco store, vape, pawnbrokers, they can't come in with an application to open up a new shop today. Now, existing shops can change ownership to the end of time. They would be grandfathered, if you will. They become non-conforming uses. They can constantly switch hands as long as there's no one-year gap in operation. But a new application for these users can't apply for occupancy in a location where that use is not today, because I have it listed as blank and because I'm blatantly calling out these uses. This is what you do with zoning. This is what a municipality, the responsibility with zoning is to call out desirable, undesirable uses and put them in zoning districts that are appropriate for your community. So that's what we're doing here, is we're individually calling out these uses and basically saying we don't feel that they're appropriate new ones to come into the city where they aren't today. Is that making sense?
I have a question about that.
Sure.
So, but the existing one, you said they can stay and they can get grandfathered.
Exactly.
But can they expand? Can they come back for a permit to expand?
So like moving from suite number 100 to 100 plus 200?
Or like combining them together?
Yep, they can. They can. There is litigation on that. You can expand a non-conforming use. There has been a lot of case law on that in Wisconsin specifically. You can expand existing non-conforming uses, yes. It's a good question.
Worried about that.
Yep. So under the services uses category of our zoning code, what we called out specifically are short-term payday loan shops. Again, they're not called out today, so we can have 50 apply tomorrow and proliferate all over the city because we do not regulate that use today. By calling them out specifically and having the blank categories under every single zoning district, we're saying we're not going to accept new applications for new locations in the city of Oak Creek. Used vehicle sales and rental and car wash. I've been given direction that we feel that we have enough of these in the city of Oak Creek. And so again, existing ones can change hands, but opening up a brand new car wash where one doesn't exist today, we would turn away that application. And that's when you write a code like this, there's no variance that they apply for. Staff simply says, sorry, that's not allowed in the city of Oak Creek per zoning code. Now they could come to us and apply for an ordinance amendment and ask us to reconsider this, but we as staff can rightfully turn those type of applications away. That's why you write a code like this. And then the last two uses listed are under the industrial category, motor freight terminals and outdoor storage of logistics related vehicles, basically a parking lot of semi-trucks. So that is a summary of the first of three different sections of this zoning text amendment. The second is trying to expedite and become a little more business friendly when it comes to the plan commission process. Our code literally calls out that there's a two-step plan commission process required when it comes to conditional use permit. It says that a plan commission must meet once for the introduction of a conditional use permit and then meet a second time to go over conditions and restrictions. So tonight we practiced how we have it proposed. with no objections, I noticed. We're really trying to, I was not understanding why we pause that process when honestly 95% of our conditions and restrictions are boilerplate. We talk about hours of operation. We talk about maybe where outdoor storage, for example, is limited. We talk about whether or not they're meeting our parking requirements. But as we practiced tonight, an applicant can provide all the information to us early enough that we can discuss both items in one meeting without having to delay their approval process. So just trying to, I think it's simple enough that we can expedite and combine those two, so the draft ordinance text consolidates these two steps into one plan commission meeting. And then the third section is, I think, just what is an accidental oversight when the zoning code and sign code were rewritten 2 years ago. We defined feather signs, and I think the intention was, because of the definition, the fact that it was defined, you know, with those feather flags, sail flags, to not allow them, but it wasn't blatantly clear in the code. And again, I think it was just an accidental oversight. When you're rewriting a whole zoning code, that's a major overhaul. Things are going to get missed here and there. So what we're doing is, again, amending a table by blatantly listing that feather signs, by having a blank under every single zoning district. It's very clear that feather signs are not allowed as a temporary sign requiring a permit, or a temporary sign not requiring a permit. Basically, no, you can't have them. It just wasn't really clear in the code, and so this is, since we're doing a zoning text amendment, this is the opportunity to throw that really simple one in there that our code enforcer chases frequently, and we're just trying to make her job a little easier. So again, this would be scheduled for a public hearing on January 21st as well.
I have another question.
Yeah.
These are all very good codes updates, and I'm very happy you guys did them, but who's the enforcer of those codes?
Sure. So the feather signs, the enforcer is our code, Creek code enforcer. We have a full-time staff person.
Oh, you do?
Who's
Okay.
enforcer. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
That's what I...
So that falls in her lap.
Mara is the code enforcement.
She is. Yep.
Okay.
This really is not an enforcement thing. That's just a step, a process.
Yeah.
And then these aren't really enforcement either, because this is
permitting, yeah.
Yeah, permitted uses. Yep.
I was just gonna say, because anybody can go out and put those feather flags.
Oh, and they do. They do.
Yes.
Car washes do we actually?
Oh, I don't know.
Trying to think, she said that, I'm trying to think of if there are.
Yeah.
Google Maps,
There's
type in
real-
car wash.
There's really about three. There's an old one on Ryan. I don't even know if it's functional. You got the one on Rawson and
Rawson,
Howell.
yeah.
And then you have the new one, Tsunami, over by TJ Maxx. And so here becomes the question. So, like with the car washes, if they're attached, you know, just use Quick Trip as an example. That's a good one. They'd have to come in here with us and say, look, we want to put in a car wash attached to our thing, and then we would consider it. Or are we just done with car washes? Because that's a fine line when you get in, take Quick Trip over on Ryan. It's probably a good part of their business.
I think that when
Are they
the words,
freestanding car washes, or are they attached to a convenience service station?
I think that could be up for interpretation when we, I think that it might not apply, because an example that we had talked about, a liquor store, this is intention is a standalone liquor store. You get a grocery store. The main business focus is grocery, the ancillary use, that the fact that they have a liquor store. that would not apply here. So standalone car wash would apply. A convenience store with a tag-along car wash, I think that that's something that could be considered.
Have to be. The reason I say that is some of that is part of their business. So take Quick
Right.
Trip for the most part. I'm sure there's a few others out there that incorporate that. Many do, and then the one on 10th doesn't.
Just depends how much land is available. Yeah.
So,
Tommy's really the
Standalone.
of the, the rest are pretty much touchless one day.
anybody else
Sit.
came for a car wash. I'm surprised nobody else is.
We get
They've been
inquiry.
building some
We get
really-
inquiry phone
There's
calls.
some giant ones out there now. that they're
Hmm.
building.
I mean, they print money, but every community. It's funny. Last conference I was at with Doug, Doug came up to me and he's like, "Are you getting tons of applications for car washes too?" I said, "Absolutely." they print money, so that's the last time I had that car wash conversation was with Doug actually. I think they do.
Popping up
Which is why they are popping up everywhere.
I haven't seen a car wash that doesn't have a line of cars waiting, honestly, unless it's, 10 degrees outside.
Yep.
It's, I mean, the one on Rawson and Howell, always along, well, mainly when the weather's decent. When I mean decent, I'm talking about like 45 degrees and up, not so much in the winter. Constant line.
That's just a two-bay, right?
Yep, that's just a 2-bay.
Drive in, park, and I've never been in that.
Yeah, I mean, not the most desirable use, especially if you have residential not too far away. You get the water being dragged out to the streets, and
We're talking more freestanding.
yeah.
Not to say somebody couldn't come in and say, look,
So just so we're clear, though, before we get talking about each of these individuals, when we're looking at this table here, the fact that everything's blank means we are no longer accepting any of these.
Correct.
That is, so the application would be denied right from the get-go.
Correct. Unless it switches hands, and it's an existing business that's
Correct.
switching hands.
Anything new.
Correct.
Okay. That really could. We could talk about each one of these one-on-one. It's an extreme measure. I could see a couple of these that I feel are probably absolutely appropriate. I think the car wash is probably the number one. Yeah, we don't want a bunch of car washes. I think you're right. They print money. They are just nonstop. I've used them myself. I'm not saying I want one next to my home. I think we have the discretion of deciding where they go, however you guys do your magic there with staff on, making sure that a car wash goes in the right place, or you could limit it to the when a gas station or convenience store, its main business is gas or grocery, whatever, limit it to that. Doesn't the Woodman's gas station also have a car wash, I thought?
yes.
Yeah, I mean they're around. They're harder to spot when they're not standalone because sometimes it's hard. Does that gas station have one? Doesn't it? It's not always evident.
But do we need more? And that's
Yeah.
why that's where this policy debate goes. Do we need more? You know what I'm saying? So like I typed in Google Maps, car wash in this area, and I zoomed out to, for the most part, Oak Creek. I think I counted at least 10.
Oh, okay. That includes attached.
It was
gas
just a
stations.
general car
Oh,
wash in
yeah,
Google
okay.
Maps.
Yep, they
So-
probably did include anything attached to a gas
I think
station.
so. Yeah.
They're out there.
Yeah.
I don't. So, for instance, if it's attached to a gas station or a convenience store, I don't think that it makes that particular gas station or convenience store more desirable because there's no car wash. If we're going to allow a Quick Trip or Woodman's or anybody else would have the actual gas station there, I really don't see a difference if they have a car wash attached. That doesn't make it any less or more desirable in my mind. A standalone like Tsunami, yes, I think you can make a case there. So that's my take on the attached. Telling him you can't have an attached car wash, aesthetically, it doesn't make a difference. Desirability, I don't think it makes a difference. You're either having a gas station or not. That's my opinion on the attached car wash situation.
I think we couldn't use one more standalone just for competition. That they're really kind of the only one, because the one on Rawson
Oh, there's
is kind
another,
of small.
there's actually another one planned on Ryan in front of Pickens. It's been approved. I don't know.
Standalone?
They might have expired.
Yeah, if it's been a year, it's expired.
You know, my memory ain't doing.
I don't recall. I mean, I've dug through files in the last year quite
Remember they were
frequently.
work-
I don't.
Plans for it. Yeah, we did.
We did. I
Yeah.
don't know if that ever happened. Property. They couldn't get through.
Mm. So, you know, when this goes to common council before the public hearing, obviously amendments can be made. You know, it is literally a policy decision. And debates might happen, and the plan commission may want to recommend one not be amended and the others are. You know, it is literally just a policy.
So
How do we want the city to look in the future?
yeah, and some of this has to be looked at. So big beer, wine, and liquor stores. I personally, if total wine comes down here, let's just say by chance, unfortunately, one of our big boxes go out. Well, whoever. I'm not gonna say no to a total wine because we don't allow liquor stores.
And then we consider doing an ordinance amendment.
So we either do that
Yep.
or we post square footage or something appropriate. We've had some dark businesses that turned into successful businesses that are listed here. Over a dark building and they're doing fine and improve the property. The other ones, I do think we probably have to look at these particular businesses and see if this is what we want. Part of what drives this is we don't know what goes into the zone. So take the high school, pop a vape shop. Happen. Within vicinity of the school, and it's probably not going to happen, at least in my point of view. So that's driving some of this. So,
Yeah, and another example, the northeast corner of Rawson and Howell, where the bar burned down, and
Oh,
that
yeah.
house is
Sawmill,
in,
yeah.
that's zoned B4, B3, and I get inquiry phone calls about a car wash or, you know, a vape shop. I can't say no to that today because we have, because it just falls under general retail.
Oh, don't get us wrong, like Steve said, if a car wash came through, I get it, they got the vax. They look different. If we wanted to entertain it, we could. If staff and everybody else felt it's appropriate. Yes.
So, if we have so many car washes or quite numerous car washes, whether they are attached to a gas station or a standalone like Tsunami by TJ Maxx, that will overtake the more prominent businesses. So, I don't want to say like the value of the homes or the good looking or the modern looking of our city will not be, I'm going to use it as up to standard, like the value of the city. We want to bring it up to
You're
standard.
correct, and it's probably not so much the number as where they're allowed, and by law, because they're allowed in those B districts, we have to say, yeah, okay, lay it out, and what do you got? And then the denial process either comes with this body to turn them away, or if staff does it, or through the common council.
Or we change the zoning of it.
Well, you don't really change the zoning, you kind of change the use and you say, you're a conditional use, you have to come in here and get permission. So
True.
that's kind of what we're doing.
Okay.
That's exactly what we're doing. Because in a lot of places, businesses change hands, and we don't know what goes in there because they fit a B4. So they can go from a game shop to a vape shop to a liquor store to a payday loan store.
Exactly, and we're all here to serve the city of Oak Creek
Right.
resident, and we want to make sure that our taxes and our value of our homes and everything stays up to standard, so we want it to be a good, valuable,
Exactly.
safe city.
Yep.
We don't want anybody to come here.
Right. Yeah, we don't want to turn it into the version of Back to the Future 2 when Biff gets control of things. Hill Valley goes to hell.
Yeah,
Just one other thing. We talked about combining the conditions and restrictions along with CUP. And we did do that tonight. And I'm gonna leave you with an example that we experienced this year when the seller came. The seller was doing an expansion. They came through and they went, oh, we gotta rezone this property. Didn't it seem like they were here extensively over combining the property, the
4
CUP?
times.
And inevitably, everybody goes, well, what are you doing? What are you gonna be building? So you're taking the conditions and restrictions, taking them right in. And then I usually go, hey, we gotta stick to the agenda. That'll be the next item or something. So in a sense, we're making it more business friendly. If somebody's coming in to expand their business, or just like this gentleman tonight, try to take care of a lot of things all at once. Instead of coming through here on 7 different occasions, cut it down to 3 or 4. Because keep in mind, anybody coming through here, we see it constantly.
Yeah, and I think from the staff perspective, Todd wrote 1 report for conditional use permit and 1 report for conditions and restrictions, and we would like to combine that into 1 report. Just it's really cumbersome doing those reports, so just a FYI heads up that we'll try to consolidate. We can summarize the project in 1 report. Just try to make it a little more efficient. Okay.
And as far as the feather flags go, we did sort that out some years ago. I think we allowed them for like grand openings for a 2-week period, or there was some sort of language in there, but quite frankly, over the years, people have just popped up signs and they are up there pretty much indefinitely, whether they're help wanted signs, grand opening, 2-for-1s, whatever the deal is. So we have to get better at that going forward, and it's really tough. Businesses are trying to use any means they can to get their message across, but we don't let them big blow up wavy guys go either. You know what I mean? We just don't want to be that.
Well, you'd probably eliminate half these feather signs by, if you look at the businesses we have listed here.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Well,
they kind of go hand in hand.
And there's a personal thing with me,
That's
the
true.
neon lights in the window, or
Yes.
LED lights in the window.
I about had it with vape stores. I'll just say it. I don't care. Just had it.
the one across from the high school?
For starters.
Yes.
So, anyways, so that's what we're doing. I mean, we're constantly adjusting and evolving as a city, and quite frankly, in 5 to 10 years, there'll be businesses here that don't even exist yet that will be going, holy smokes, we don't want them here. We want them here. They're appropriate. They're inappropriate. Who knows? So,
And this was vetted by our city attorney, just so you know, very well. She she and I worked together very closely on this.
Now, one additional question for the table. I think before this
Sure.
one. Yes. So for industrial uses, I just want to check, because we just had an applicant who had outdoor storage of logistical equipment. So if that organization wanted to expand in a different location, they will not be able to?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. In fact, she and I specifically talked about that particular applicant. So our intent is to eliminate outdoor storage of logistics related vehicles as the sole business operation. So that was not the case for the applicant tonight. They, their conditional use was for equipment sales, auto body, automotive, mechanical repair, with some outdoor storage of trailers. This, as it's drafted, would be, again, a very standalone, basically giant parking lot. Who is, that's the intent of the business, to just store semi-trailers, basically a giant parking lot, without necessarily like an office operation affiliated with it.
I guess do we have that?
Yes, we
We
have.
have some locations.
We
with
do,
just
I mean,
storage?
well, UPS, FedEx, Yellow Trucking.
They're the motor freight terminal, yeah.
Yellow's gone,
Oh, okay.
But
TNT. And
the point is to not have it, not have future
Anymore.
applicants.
And it's not to say that if the perfect thing didn't come
That it-
along in the right
correct.
location.
Yep.
Take an M1 use, say down by the truck stop. You know, somebody vacates their property, becomes available, say, okay, you know, what do you got? And they go, this is what we're doing.
Can always reconsider an
it's all
ordinance
vetted
change.
by staff. It just ain't wide open to say, okay, come on in here.
I mean, to be fair, we gotta sometimes admit who we are. We have one of the most highly traveled interstates in the country going right through our city. And, you know, commerce is, especially on, you know, close to the interstate, is going to be desirable. I mean, it's kind of who we are. I think we just have to be mindful of just knee-jerk no's. And I'm thinking about this one, and yes, no one wants you know, to be looking at trailers, you know, from their, you know, living room window. You know, I have mixed feelings about this one. It like UPS. Who sees that?
Sure, a UPS can exist till the end of time.
Yeah.
But honestly, there's not much land left in Oak Creek. And I think that your comment about being mindful, I think that that's part of the intent here as well, is Oak Creek is getting closer and closer to the point of not as much land, green space available for development. And what uses do we want in the remainder of the land?
Yep, it's fair. I keep thinking of I-94, right? I mean, we got, that's fine. And it sounds like we always have an option to,
Absolutely.
okay.
Reconsider, absolutely.
Reconsider, right.
It is a moving target. The permitted and conditional uses table can be changed anytime. Absolutely.
Guess I'm
See,
not
I agree with you.
understanding.
Sorry. Go
Yeah,
ahead, Justin.
I guess I'm not understanding, because my interpretation of this, if it has no conditions, if it comes to planning, then you would say no. And let me tell you what I'm processing. What I heard is that, yes, you would say no, except for. And what's the except for certain scenarios? Are you letting everyone come in and apply, and then we can determine no? Because I guess I'm not understanding the distinction of when you would make an exception to say, okay, yeah, this is good for other people to hear, and determine if it should be in that area or not. That's the part I'm not understanding.
Think of it, it's no different than when somebody comes in and goes, well, I need a zoning change for my business.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's no exceptions. If this were to be adopted as you see it in front of you, there would not be exceptions to users. We as staff would be obligated to say no. We have to say no to an application for a new smoke shop or a new payday loan or a new motor freight terminal. We would have to say no. What I'm saying is that in the future, an applicant we would say no to them. They don't like the no, so they would bring an ordinance amendment before the Plan Commission and Council to reconsider the city changing their zoning code, changing this table to say a conditional use in B4, for example. They would ask us to modify, and again, we can say no to modifying the ordinance.
Correct.
Or we
So-
can say yes.
So that would allow us to have say-so on it, whereas right now, they're allowed in whatever district they're in. If, say, you're motor freight, it's M1, but just take cigarette, tobacco sales. That's in any B1, 2.
Yeah, under general retail.
I get, I'm still, and bear with me, because isn't that the same purpose for conditional uses? You have people come in to determine if this is a good fit for that particular area.
Well, conditional uses, you're not supposed to say no to. You're saying yes with conditions.
Okay.
You can say no when it's blank. You can't say no with a C. You can say no, you can say yes with conditions. That's why it's a conditional use. The city is acknowledging that those uses are okay in particular zoning districts if there is a C or a P in the table. But if it's blank, the city is saying flat out no.
Do we have anything else that already currently that is banned? I don't know what else to use the word. Like, that's an automatic no. Or is this the first time we've really tackled this?
Well, right now, take adult entertainment. It's banned everywhere but in
Okay.
it used to exist in 4. Remember 27th
I remember.
Ross and, there, and it went out. So it is allowed, but it's only allowed in the M1. So we relegated where we prominently didn't want that along Howell Avenue.
I guess I'm just asking.
Oh, I know exactly what you're asking.
Yeah.
If we have any blanks.
And
Right.
to your point, that's
Pulling
kind
that
of
up.
where I was going. Maybe I used the wrong terminology, but we've identified specific
I
places
know,
where
fine.
these different businesses could be.
Right, but when you take into account B4,
Yes, we do.
the LM1s,
Mm-hmm.
it is such a wide array of businesses that could exist.
Yeah, we have blanks. I'll call them blanks.
Can- okay.
For example, under the residential districts, we have specifically listed schools, private or public, and those are blanks under all residential districts. There you go, right in front of you. And then, let's see here. If you go under residential uses, under the commercial, go up. Oh, yeah, there you go. You were there. Sorry. Go down. Down, down, down. There. Dwelling single family attached is blank. So that's prohibiting single families from being built in all commercial districts. I don't think we have many. That's just not how staff chose to do it.
Yep. Anything
2 years ago.
Non-residential, yeah.
I think those are the only examples.
Okay. Maybe I was just thinking like, hey, maybe there's something we've never heard come through here because it's always denied at the door. I think the difference,
Also,
to help you understand, I think the difference is we just aren't going to see them come here. That's the difference, unless they come, and we'll find out how often that happens if they have the wherewithal to come in and try to ask for a change.
Right, if they want to pay like over $1,000 and ask for the change, that I'm going to tell them, oh, we just recently prohibited that. I don't know that they'll change the policy again, but
Right.
you are we'll take your money and you can apply.
and if it does get changed, then it's on the book, and then it's like the door is open again, right?
Yep, exactly, yep. And another way to prohibit uses is to not list them. If someone comes in and says, I want to do this, and Todd and I are looking at the table, And we're like, nothing matches that. Sorry, but the code says if it's not listed, I can't allow an application to move forward. Again, they can apply to change the ordinance, change the zoning code, but that's another way to do it, is to just not list it. But these uses, such as smoke shop, beer, liquor, those are general retail. So that's what they fall under today.
I'm concerned that we're, may be moving to being too black and white and not as business friendly as we've been in the past. That's my concern about moving forward like this, so just wanted to throw it out there.
Again, they can always plead their case to come back. Say, I need to be here because I'm a benefit, reasons X, Y, Z. I'm a good fit in area A, B, or C because it's that or the other. So take a car wash. They go, I want to squeeze in this part of land, whatever it might be. We may want to.
I was gonna actually add that, yes, I know where you and Don are coming from. However, looking at the benefit and the safety of the city of Oak Creek, I don't want the passing by passengers to come to the city or the heart of the city because we don't know who they are, just to passing by. We want the local businesses and maybe neighborhood businesses to come here for businesses and kind of flourish. But we don't want anybody passing by too to come because we don't know, for safety purposes as
We
well.
are, but we're a welcoming community, and
Yes.
and people come here all the time to
Yes.
shop, dine, and
Yes.
work. Not that regard. We're not trying to keep people out of the city. We're just trying to keep a certain standard within the city. And as somebody brought up, B 2, 3, 4, everything along Howell Avenue in front of Kohl's, we could have 6 car washes. Don't want that to happen. And right now, we have to allow it, consider it, and stop it at this body or our council. So we want to give them the means to say, no, it's not desirable. If the owner wants to push it, they can come forward. And that's happened. Oil change places have come over on Howell Avenue, and this body said that's an inability. They were allowed before oil change. Now we really don't do that. We hire a better use for that property, neighbors, and all that. Stopped it here. They could have put the rest probably in front of us, and it would have never gone. Safeguard. Okay, with that being said, we need a motion on
Well, before a motion, I'd like to circle back to the car wash thing. Would it be possible to kind of carve out businesses where a car wash bay is their secondary business?
How about this? I will circle back to the city attorney, but I think that's because she and I had that really detailed conversation about the outdoor storage of logistics related vehicles. We've had it about the beer, wine, liquor. If it's an ancillary use, that would not apply to this. These are standalones. So I am quite confident she would agree with the car wash. But if she doesn't, if she thinks that a convenience store, which is its own category today, with a car wash with it would fall under this category of car wash, staff can adjust the draft ordinance with Plan Commission's direction between now and the public hearing.
On 27th Street in College, because I always lose track of the Oh, no, I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm thinking of the school district, not the city. Anything on the west side is okay. I want to use, it's not ours, but the old Kentucky Fried Chicken. I'm going to use that. I know it's Franklin, but I think that's still Franklin. I want to use that as an example. So I could see eventually a Quick Trip, say, going in there. I know there's one right across the street, but that would be like a prime corner for a Quick Trip. And if that were our property and, they wanted to put a bay in there, I would want to make sure that we say, yeah, absolutely. That's my only concern.
Sure. So if that's how you wanted your motion to read, your motion would read that you recommend approval with the amendment that car wash, if a car wash as a secondary use to anything else would not be allowed, that you would recommend that be removed from the draft. But then, it would have to have a second motion and then it would have to pass. That, that's the procedure. But if that's how you want your motion to be, then that's how I would write it.
I'd like to, get the input of the other commissioners because
Sure.
I'm not the only one here.
I would not do that. I would not do that. I will go with what the attorney and Kathy, Christy, so many people today. I'm super tired.
No problem.
Christy have said it's part of the ancillary of the.
Well, I didn't vet that one on her.
Okay, like you give the example of the liquor store and
Right.
what's happened and
Yep.
Myers and everything, so it's not standalone. So I think it's the same, so I would not separate specifically the gas station and the washer, because if I go ahead and start by separating this, I might as well, someone can come and separate the liquor store from the grocery store and the liquor. So if you start separating, everybody's gonna start separating everything. It's just gonna become a nightmare.
Well, but you can already allow a liquor store. We're not trying to ban liquor stores as part of a grocery store. That's not what we're trying to do here. What we are doing though is including the car wash as a part of another business. That's the difference. We're not trying to ban all liquor, anyone from selling liquor anymore on a new property. We're just right? I mean, am I wrong on that?
Standalone.
Okay.
A standalone liquor store would be banned.
Exactly. That's kind of what I'd like to treat the car wash as, the same thing. Now, what I think we can also do is just remove car wash altogether today and bring it back separately. Could we not?
We could put parentheses after car wash and just be clear and say standalone. You can draft this however you want.
Okay.
You can do whatever verbiage you want.
Okay. I don't know. Maybe I'm the only one that's concerned about this.
No, because in some cases, that's part of the business.
Yep.
So, okay, take an oil change. Take the place on 27th Street. They do oil changes. Primarily, they're a Take 5 oil with a giant car wash. Are they primarily a car wash or an oil change? Right? Now they're grandfathered in. They've been there for a good long time. 27th by the theater there. What are we going to do about that?
Does the
So,
one
a
in front of
scrub
Kohl's, is that a Valvoline? Do they have a car
They're
wash?
primarily
I can't remember.
car wash.
Not ours, but scrub it up.
You have to have the ability for the person to come forward, determination to be, and I know right where you're at, Tom, it's standing. Because they're in our city, or the most recent, I'll use them as an example, is tsunami. Tsunami comes along and goes, well, we want to be over where the sawmill was. No, we don't want to do that. At this point in time, they're okay there. So,
Based off Google Street View, it does not look like Pennzoil has a car wash. Yep.
everybody,
In front of Kohl's.
oh no, that
it?
one doesn't.
Okay, I couldn't remember. I was just curious.
Again, in a lot of cases, that is part of the business,
A lot of cases.
particularly in Quick Trip. I can tell you, when Quick Trip came through here, the very first Quick Trip, they were really excited to have a Quick Trip. And part of big part of their business is their beer and liquor store, their beer cave. First thing I told them is we don't allow sales in gas stations. We had to change the ordinance for that. Which is what we did.
You just pull car wash off of this for now?
No, I think the easiest is maybe just as Christie alluded to, because I think that was, I'm assuming that was a discussion for standalones. So I think if you just put standalones in parentheses, it's fine. Now, if a standalone comes and it's the Taj Mahal of all car washes, then staff may, and then we'd have some changes to do here and things like that. But it's not impossible. It's not like we can't undo things.
Why can't we just leave it open and have it flexible for the staff to determine? If we start specificing things, it's just going to be a little hard.
Because the staff doesn't have enough muscle to shut it down, other than saying, "Don't go away."
Yes, but then they can move it forward to us, and then we can move it forward to the common council.
I know, but then why are we taking a business through all that in the application fees, knowing it's a dead end? It's not fair to the consumer. It's not fair to staff.
That's what I'm saying. Why should we even put it here? Do we want to say it here?
Then it won't even make it
But,
to us. It stops it right away without going
Okay.
through all the motions.
Yeah, otherwise they have to pay an application fee.
oh,
Move forward and say, well, let's go forward, and they're saying, it's kind of dead on arrival
It just,
anyways.
yep, ends on a phone call.
So what we're doing is we're giving some more tools to our staff.
Let's just put that in parentheses.
One quick question. It's kind of in alignment, yet not. Based on our discussions, we were saying all of these are standalone. Didn't we just say with the industrial use, outdoor storage?
Yep.
If it's standalone.
Yep.
Then that wouldn't apply, but the
But-
company that came in.
Not necessarily. So tobacco, cigarettes, smoking supplies could be in a strip mall, but in a B4 district, but it wouldn't be allowed.
Right, yeah.
So that's not a standalone.
That's like a retail versus the vehicle-related
Yeah.
uses, yeah.
So what does that mean? Standalone, that applies for like industrial vehicles, services, and the retail not?
Well, the industrial's a little bit different because it's more the use of it. Because if you're gonna be a producer of something, a product, you're gonna have trailers to ship out.
And let me tell you why I'm asking this. I'm looking from the perspective of someone interested in bringing a business here. Because if I only see car wash is standalone, and the others are not, then you're like, oh, I'm good. If it's something, yeah, then I'm good for everything else except for the car wash. That's what I'm trying to say. I just want to cover us. That's why I'm asking that question.
Yeah, and they can come back and ask for it.
Mm-hmm.
They can.
Yep.
And in some cases, we're gonna find businesses that come here that may incorporate a whole lot of different things that we haven't considered. And this is not that we have the room for it or there'd be another one, but take Pilot. Pilot's a gas station, convenience store.
Fueling station
Fueling
is a category
station.
we have.
They got truck washes.
Yep.
They have service stations. They have maintenance. So that's
So-
an animal all in itself.
So is this kind of a start?
I could,
And then we release it as is and modify it as we go?
convenience stores and fueling stations are categories that we already have that are conditional use permits. And You know, so maybe the way around the car wash is that with that conditional use permit application that comes forward, you're not restricting car wash with that convenience store or fueling station. I think that that would be a safe way to go about. We're still reviewing it. The main use is a convenience store and or fueling station. It has a secondary use with that as a car wash, and I feel that that's very fair for the Plan Commission and Common Council to consider as part of the conditional use permit for a fueling station. Yet the standalone car wash is prohibited with the draft ordinance before you.
Shipping. It has been? Okay.
Yeah, but I don't know what, yeah. I mean,
We have our next one is tomorrow morning.
yeah.
We'll
but-
talk more in depth about that.
So this is important. I know this is.
I can tell you this, across the county, everybody's doing it.
They are.
Yep.
Everybody's
They are.
looking at it.
And we can
West
be the
Dallas
dumping
is an
ground
act-
where everyone comes because they couldn't go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a couple things on here. This is really an important decision we're making here. There's some things on here that are no-brainers, right? The adult entertainment, for some reason, I'm assuming the attorney felt like we had to keep something on there, or else why would we have it on there? You know, I think that's a no-brainer. If we could, you know, get rid of it all, I'm sure we would. We would. The tobacco, the vaping thing, that if it's not already a no-brainer, we're almost there. It's, you know, no-brainer. Pawn shops, you know, checking the cash places. But let's look at the beer, wine, and liquor stores. Now, you know, it invokes images of the seedy liquor stores that are selling the fifths behind the counter, right? I think that's what I imagine here. But imagine if in Drexel Town Square, one of these spaces, a really nice wine shop wants to move in. Well, we just said no. So these are just some of the things that, you know, we could be saying no to things that might enhance the Oak Creek experience, because we're a little, I don't want to be short-sighted here. I am with you. We want to make sure we're creating a good image of Oak Creek, but I don't want us to be going, oh, we really screwed up on that one. So, and the same thing goes with the car wash. I think we're almost there. But these are just some of the things that we want to be absolutely careful of, that we're not turning away something we really want in the future, like the Total Wine. It's a bigger extent. You know, would we say no to that? No, probably not. But we'd have to turn the whole thing around. So just be aware. You know, we might have to say no to some nice things, or turn away a quick trip or something like that because of what we're doing.
Or ask them to be patient for 45 days.
All right.
I mean, truly, we can get them through an ordinance amendment that quickly.
So again, and I'm with you on that. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
Some
sure.
of these things, depending on the situation, we'd have to look at. So, you know, take any example you just threw out there. It maybe fits somewhere in the city as things turn over and change. You had a very good example of, you know, something in Drexel Town Square, and we may handcuff ourselves because primarily wine store.
I mean, we got enough roadblocks in Drexel Town Square the way it is. I don't want to start putting up more, make it even harder for businesses to come in here. That one particular would be concerning me, is the beer, wine, and liquor one for Drexel Town Square. That clearly none of these other ones would be here, but just careful what you wish for.
Again, an amendment or a motion to say, hey, staff, we don't like the all blanks. Can you put a C underneath Drexel Town Square, or B2 or B3 or B, you know, that is, you guys are directing us on how to draft this ordinance. If you're not comfortable with all blanket no, you can make a recommendation to the Common Council that they consider any one of these a conditional or permitted use in any of the categories.
Yeah, I'm just not prepared right now to say, B2, B3, B4. It's a bigger conversation for me because I'm just not, I don't whip the definitions off the top of my head on a lot of these things.
Anything zone commercial, basically, in the city.
Okay. Again, just so we're clear, if we say keep it all blank, they can come before us and try to get that turned around.
Oh, sure.
And then how long do we have to wait before we can shut it off again?
For business.
It's per business?
I mean,
It would be.
the city can change their code every month if you want to. I got all the public hearing each time, but you can.
I mean, we don't want to do that.
That's a silly policy, yes.
But take, for example.
Practice, yep.
Who's B4? Target?
Howell. So,
Howell.
we just said to rezone
So,
that office building before.
so Home Goods or whoever,
Mhm.
the rent-a-center goes out, Total Wine comes in. They're not in. They can't come in right now. They gotta come and change their spot. We gotta change it.
This is adopted as drafted, yes. Today they can come in.
And they have to come in. So if they come in and go, well, we want that spot, we make a decision on that.
You have to change the whole code, the permitted, the table.
Yeah.
For any parcel zoned B4.
And then it's
And then,
for everyone then, not just them.
Correct.
then
Unless we
that
change
needs
it
to be
back.
rethought. Just plain and simple. What are you gonna, and I keep using Total Wine, we're gonna shut the door on it?
It's
Are we?
Total Wine and Mom and Pop, yeah. They all fall into that beer, wine,
They
liquor
all
store.
fall into one.
They do. Yep.
Pretty big. I think I brought that up.
Or you could, so the B4 is where the big boxes are. The big boxes aren't under B2. You can make a conditional use under B4 only. The B2 is more your neighborhood, neighborhood commercial.
In large leadership, we were talking about certain square footage of the building.
We can talk about that more tomorrow morning, but at SLT. But no, we had not. But that's easy to do by making it a conditional use in B4 only, because that is your big box.
Yeah, right now I can't support the changes as is, but if we need to move forward, I could just vote in the
But
opposite way.
yeah, but motions can direct us with a particular modification that you want.
I have a question to the council here. Do we have enough beer, wine, and liquor standalone stores in Oak Creek that we need more?
Well, subject to opinion, just like car washes.
Exactly.
And department stores and Italian restaurants, pizza places,
No,
gas stations.
I'm talking about common sense. I don't know if that would make us numbers. Numbers cannot lie. Numbers is really cannot be debated.
If
Numbers.
it's
So-
hard to say if your need for a car wash is have your car washed every day and you live on a part of town where car washes don't exist.
We can be picky as much as we want. I understand that, but also we have to look for our community and what our resident, our public community wants from us or expect from us to do for them.
And I agree with you. I do agree with you. That's why I think this is really important what we're doing.
Exactly. So
It's a big blanket, and Don summed it up best. Some of these are
exactly. So do we want a liquor or a beer store in every corner? I'm exaggerating, every corner of Oak Creek? No, we want it to be as they come in, and based on the location and based on it, then we can look into it.
That's
So-
not what we're doing here.
Yeah, so one thing I just want to point out, so again, liquor, wine, beer today falls under general retail. We do not call it that category. And I think that this debate could be resolved by saying by calling out beer, wine, and liquor, but then making them conditional use in the B4 district. Like, okay, we'll accept future applications, but we're going to scrutinize your hours of operation, your parking, whether there's sufficient parking on site, because those are conditions and restrictions that come with a conditional use permit, but not flat out banning them. So I'm looking at the zoning map. I know you can't see it on your screen, but basically 27th Street and Howell and some of College and some of Ryan are your B4 areas, the main corridors in the city.
But we have to make sure, like, for example, I don't know if this is gonna be under C, some of the condition, like the vaping store that I know is across from the high school. We wanna make sure that that liquor store does not find a parcel there that's gonna be open to, you know, the teenager kids, they go across and like the GG Maxx strip store there, the mall there, and they just go and accessible to them to buy something. So we want to also restrict where they are going to be opening that.
Yeah, that's, yeah, I mean, on the west side of Howell, across from the high school, zone B4.
I'm just saying, we don't want to make the same mistake at that vaping store, because I heard from the principal quite a bit about that.
Well, there's a lot of questions here. So unfortunately, I'm going to ask for a hold and bring it back. Okay. Motion to hold.
Before we do, we've had special meetings for things, especially when we're doing like the whole rezoning thing. I feel like we could really beat this to death, and in some spots it probably does need to be really vetted and thought through. In some of these, I would be okay with maybe when we have a light agenda, unlike tonight, where we can have a closed meeting about this. Is that possible?
Can't have it closed.
Okay.
But we could. But I think we just got to vet it out, because there's been a lot of input that Todd's taken in, I've heard. We'll go back and explain what the hangups were, because obviously it was too generic.
Okay, I'm fine with that.
Actually, I would like to, I don't know, the attorney, do you think she would have some input about maybe what we're discussing, if it can be more general, so if someone can come back and see, yes, they can come back and say, well, how can you approve this and not approve that, and based on your codes or anything?
No, it's policy.
Okay.
It's all policy.
Remember, what we're doing is processing everywhere.
That's what I'm worried
It's
about.
from 27th and College to the power plant, 9 and 27th, all the way down to everywhere in the city.
Motion to hold that.
Just make a motion to hold the date to be determined.
I'm sorry?
We don't know when the date will be, so just put it on hold, date to be determined.
Sure, that's fine.
All right.
With the holidays, we don't know when it'll get back here, and we don't meet again until
January
mid-January.
14th.
14th.
All right, Oldani moves to hold item number 4K for a future date to be determined.
Guzekowski will second.
Roll call, Chris, you want to start?
Guzekowski, aye.
Oldani, aye.
Chandler, aye.
Hannah, aye.
Mulch, aye.
Shinsky, aye.
Gavich, aye. Now just about get us to adjournment, and as I said, this is our last meeting of the year. I want to personally thank all of you for all your hard work. It's been a really quick year. We've done a lot. You know, your memory kind of blurs, but boy, going back to last year, you know, we've had some changes. We had some big things come through here. A lot of things happen in Oak Creek all the time, and it's going to remain busy for a little while. So I thank you for all your time, your input, your experience. Greatly appreciate it very much. So I wish you all a happy holiday and a safe one at that. So enjoy friends and family. I'll leave it at that.
Thank you.
Okay. Motion to adjourn. Unless you guys got anything. I'm always doing the talking. Anybody got anything?
Happy holidays to you too.
Okay. Excellent. Okay, motion to adjourn.
Okay.
Guzekowski makes a motion to adjourn at 8:26.
And a seconds.
Roll call, Don?
Voldani, aye.
Chandler, aye.
Hannah, aye.
Bouch, aye.
Chinsky, aye.
Gavich, aye.
Guzekowski, aye.
All right. Thank you, everybody.